Mitch, joined by Jen Welter. Our final segment of the show. We are going to give you our very, very early Super Bowl predictions. And not just Super Bowl predictions, like one matchup. I actually want to give you like a couple different matchups potentially that could happen, or just like the teams that I could see maybe making the big game. Okay. So maybe there'll be a couple hot takes in here, Jen, but I want to hear your reaction. You've got the Matt Patricia pencil there, or
I know, I am. I'm going rocket scientist for you. I'm glad you picked up what I was putting down. I like that about you, Mitch.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. So the first one, I think we'll just start with the obvious. So the obvious is a rematch of last year, because this doesn't almost ever happen. I don't think it's happened since like the 70s maybe, or maybe the 90s, but I don't remember. So the Chiefs, the Bucks, they're the two favorites for the Super Bowl right now in Vegas. And Vegas knows, as I always say, Jen. So Chiefs, Bucks could very well happen. We saw the Bucks bring everyone back. We saw them even add Giovanni Bernard, who LeVar Arrington says is not going to be a factor, but I think he will be, because Tom Brady, like James White, and Gio is basically the same type of player. And we saw everyone come back, the continuity building, an actual training camp for Tom Brady, who apparently didn't know the offense, halfway through the year. They had to work on that and work the kinks out. And then we saw Tom Brady really up his game the last half of the season. Then you have the Chiefs. They rebuilt their offensive line. They have Orlando Brown now protecting Patrick Mahomes. Defense is about the same. They didn't lose too many players. They lost, a Sammy Watkins here, a couple players, but nothing too crazy, like where it's just fundamental to their team. So that's the first matchup. What do you think of that possibility?
Can Tom Brady stay healthy?
He's old. We don't know. Can he?
I mean, he's every day he's out there and doing what he's doing, he's defying the odds, right? And so that's not knocking him in any way, shape, or form. But do you have anybody else that can TB12 it? Do you have anybody who can even patchwork it? I don't know, right? Like, we don't
on the Bucks.
Yeah.
Well, you can say the same thing about the Chiefs. I mean, if Mahomes gets hurt, are you putting Chad Henne out there again?
I'm putting Chad Henne out before I do with the Bucks.
What about blame the Magic Man Gabbert?
Who's that?
That's my guy, the Magic Man.
Right.
He's the backup. Well, they also did draft the second-round rookie, Kyle Trask.
It's true. It's true. But they don't have a solution for quarterback, and he is older. So to me, the magic of TB lies with TB, right? Like, and it is TB and it is TBD, but TBD is solid. But if you take Tom Brady out of that equation.
Yeah, I mean, okay, like if you take Aaron Rodgers off the pack, if you take, Josh Allen off the Bills, like obviously they're not going to make Super Bowl.
Are closer in terms of, and it's really because of Tom Brady's age, right? Like, and I get it. He is a beast and he outperformed what everybody thought he would do last year. But age is a factor. Now, he plays fast with his cognitive processing, and thankfully they have done the two tight end set and they've gotten better on the O-line. I think that Tampa has done a really great job of putting every element that they could in place to protect Tom Brady and to try and repeat. I'm just trying to say, how does it not play out the same way?
Obviously.
And it's really through him, right? Because any of the other places, you do have some pretty good backups and you do have some different, some different options. It's either that or Antonio Brown, starts assaulting his own teammates. I don't know, because it was just the moving truck company. But
could happen.
So, and then, I mean, Kansas City's not that much different, right? Except for the O-line, but we didn't need them to be that much different. Now, is there that magic to take it out? It's still a matchup I'd like to see today. I'd like to see it today, tomorrow, every day, as long as you keep those magic components in place, right? The second Mahomes goes out, I'm not really that interesting. I'm not really that interested. The second Tom Brady goes out, I'm not really that interested. I don't really believe, I'm not through and through sold. So it's kind of.
And cliche. Jen, to be honest, I think that again with the Vegas thing. Vegas has the Chiefs favored,
Yeah.
right, over the Bucks.
Yeah.
And the Bucks just destroyed them in the Super Bowl. The reason is because of the youth of the quarterback. That is the reason. It's not because the Bucks are a worse team. They're, in fact, I think they're the team that I look at in many years where I say, if there's a team to repeat, it might be them because of the ways they can beat you. You go down the list, they can beat you in so many ways. I mean, you want them to win on defense. You know, they want to win running the ball, passing the tight end, pass the receivers, you know, whatever it is, like they can beat you doing so many things. The Chiefs, they're more one-dimensional, but they have the 2 years back-to-back to the Super Bowls. They have Andy Reid. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have key ingredients, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. The thing is with the Chiefs to me is like, can they make it back 3 years in a row? Like that's tough. I don't know.
Well, every year you say it's a new year, but it's not, right? Like every year we're going to start fresh, coach speak, start fresh. It's like, when we say like it's 0 to 0, it's not. It's never to 0 to 0. And there's always expectations. And the truth is that part of the reason why it's so hard is because you're a target and everybody wants to beat the bully on the block. Now, we know the formula for beating the Kansas City Chiefs because we saw it from TBD. So if you can attack that O-line, things go bad because it's not multiple. Like you said, it is relatively one-dimensional. I think they need to do some getting better to really be able to offset being so one-dimensional, which kind of before that, it was like, oh, we have the phenoms everywhere. So even if it is one dimension, we're going to play it our way and we're going to do it big. So I need to see them shake things up a little bit. But I mean, the Bucks are they're built to be bullies, right? They have the potential of really creating a dynasty. And I think it's exciting.
It does hinder on Tom Brady though. Like how long is Tom Brady going to be Tom Brady? That's been a question for many years and we will never know until it just happens, honestly.
Right. Or
I'm not willing to doubt him.
I'm done. Right? His wife finally says, I'm done with this.
Yes.
Right? Who knows?
Yeah.
But she seems pretty supportive. So I don't think we're at that point yet. And he got her down to Florida. I think he might have had that problem if it was in New England much longer, though. She seems to appreciate the warm weather. Who doesn't?
Yeah, I would too. But you go to the championship weekends where you had the Packers and the Bills. Those teams obviously stand out as teams that could take the next step. Now, we don't know about the Packers in terms of that whole situation. And because of that situation, whether Aaron Rodgers plays or not, I honestly feel like it's kind of unrealistic to pick the Packers to win the Super Bowl because I just feel like there's way too much tension within that building. And I've said it before, I believe during the offseason on this show, they had so many things go right and they still didn't win the Super Bowl. They had one of the best corners, one of the best running backs, one of the best receivers, one of the best left tackles. You go down the list of all the things that played at their maximum level. They had the best quarterback in the league, MVP. Are those things going to be able to happen again? It's just very hard, especially when you don't really improve your team. So yes, could the Packers? I wouldn't rule it out because they have, Rodgers and a very talented team, but it would have to replicate what they did and then get better.
I don't think you're going to see Green Bay back there. I think it's unfortunate, but I think that there's too much chaos, right? And unless they all of a sudden kumbaya, chaos breeds discontent. It breeds apathy. It breeds, I got to take care of me. And that's not what wins a Super Bowl, right? What you saw come to Tampa was not just a quarterback, but it was somebody who in preparation and in the way he is about the game, he makes everyone around him better. He makes everybody want to be better. He's the hardest worker. He's the first one in, the last one out. He is that guy, and he's attracting talent that wants to play with him. Who right now wants to throw in their cards with Aaron Rodgers because
Devontae
you don't
Adams.
know what the heck he's going to do. Oh, he might retire. Oh, he's not making enough money. Oh, you didn't give me enough weapons. Oh, I want the GM fired. Oh, I already got the coach fired. That's not the guy that I want to like snuggle up to and say we're in this together. Like he doesn't. If all else, if all other things are equal, and I know some people are like, show me the money. I'm a star. There's a reason. There's a reason why they've been close, but not there. And it can't always be everybody else's problem. Aaron, put your big boy panties on and either get in where you fit in with this team and say, we're going to go to a freaking Super Bowl and I'm going to put it on my back, or get out. But don't keep talking about it. If you want to go host Jeopardy, go host Jeopardy. Right? But don't put your entire franchise in jeopardy because you're just pitching a fit at all times. If you're pitching a fit, then you may not be a fit. So get your fit somewhere else or go to Jeopardy.
Jen, I don't know if you saw, but I was giving you a hand for that rant because it was pretty good. Very good. All right. The Buffalo Bills, they were close, but still a little far away from getting to the Super Bowl. So they obviously have to deal with some great competition within the division itself, you know, with the improved Patriots and the Dolphins, as we've discussed. The Bills, they are also a team that have stayed rather stagnant in terms of like their roster construction, who they have on their team. So it would have to be improvement from areas where they were not so good last year.
Right.
We know what we're getting from Josh Allen in the passing game, which basically carried them to the AFC Championship. Right. But when it comes to the rest of the team, are we getting a run game this year? Are we getting a better defense? Which was surprising about their team last year because Sean McDermott's always kind of had a good defense. And last year, the reason they went to the AFC Championship was not because of the defense. It was the exact opposite. So could you see the Bills maybe making those small improvements to getting over the Chiefs?
I think it's going to be hard for them to beat the Chiefs. I do.
Yeah.
But here's the thing I like about the Bills. They have literally been building, right? And they have been putting components in place for a while. It's like they got quietly good, right? Like before this year, I'd have been like, meh, is it the Bills versus the Lions? Right? Like, get out the building. You're lying. Right?
You're
like,
lying.
Huh?
You're lying.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would have never looked to them to be one of those formidable teams, but they have been putting things in place, which means they have had a plan and they're executing the plan. And it has been consistent. So to me, what that says is that they think that they're getting better because they're getting better together. So that cohesion and that, you know, really getting to know each other and maximizing the guys in the building. And I think that some of that loyalty and consistency, you will see elevate them. But the Chiefs are going to be hard to beat. I think almost the Chiefs could beat themselves, right? Because you have that much. Well, just think about it.
It's true. It's true. I mean, and again, just like the going to the Super Bowl 3 times in a row, it's just like, it just never really happens because things happen.
I mean, that team is fire and ice to me. And I think that's really what it is. Like the Kansas City Chiefs are combustible, right? You have electric personas. There's probably not a bigger personality team in the National Football League than the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you got Tyreek Hill, right? You got Mahomes, you got Matthews, right? Like you have these big electric personalities, and they can light it up. But if they turn on each other for some reason, I think that really the only way they could spontaneously combust is if something happens there. I don't think it's necessarily somebody else beating them as much as it is them beating themselves, right? Which, having no tackles, they beat themselves. Now, granted, they got TBD to D, but, I think those personalities could come into it, where I think the Bills are literally like one building block in front of the other. I think they're working on depth. I think they're working on cohesion. They're kind of like that steady Eddie right now. I don't know if it's enough, but I do like them to be consistent and, like that pit bull who's just not going to give up, right? Like you may not be the biggest dog, you may not be the loudest, but you're like,
Yeah. So there's a couple questions I think we need to answer. Is the first one is in the NFC, we kind of dismissed the Packers a little bit. So if we're dismissing the Packers, who is the challenger for the Bucks? I think that's the first question. And the second question I'm going to say is like, who's that surprise team that you think could make it to the Super Bowl? And then we'll end with maybe a prediction. So let's start with that first one. NFC wise.
Well,
who
I really
could
want to
take down the Bucks?
I'm just going to say who do I really want to see? I'm going to start there, and I'll let you kind of throw it. Because when you asked me for this originally, I tried to think of two teams that could have really flipped the switch. I like my Cardinals.
Okay.
Cardinals have done some work. Cardinals with that improved defense, more Kyler, really coming together. Still got D-Hop. They could be interesting to me. And then I think you're right about the Rams.
Yeah, that's my team. If anyone's gonna beat the Bucks, this is a hot take. It's gonna be the Rams, and the reason is they beat them last year.
Yep.
I think McVay obviously did some things in that game that I really liked, what they took advantage of in that game. Even with Jared Goff at quarterback, I felt they had a beat on that defense, on that Todd Bowles defense. And with Stafford at quarterback, I think that can only improve. I'm a little worried about some of the pieces they lost on defense, but when you have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, I think you should be fine. So they're that team that I see maybe replacing the Packers in that NFC Championship.
Yeah.
I like the Cardinals pick. I think that's maybe a little hot, but you can see it.
It is a little hot because, again, they're another kind of fire and ice take, right? Like they're high flying or free falling, because you have so many big personalities and you do have wild card factors like a Kyler Murray, right? Like he's dynamic. He also just say, I decided I want to play baseball. Right. Like
you also have like, okay, what JJ Watt are we getting? Like, is Chandler Jones the same guy? There's some question.
But if they fire on all cylinders that they have, they're for the first time really since they lost to Cam and the Panthers, they're scary again. Right. They're scary already, but they could be scary good again. So I can't wait to see it. I also think that, time on task with Cliff Kingsbury, now you're going to start to be more in your rhythm and some of those things. You got Buda Baker, who's just, he's also
baller.
Yeah, he's also a baller. So I think that they're going to be really interesting. So I want to see what they do. And then I want to see the Rams. What about the Seahawks, Mitch?
I know you hate the defense. I will never rule the Seahawks out because they have Russell Wilson, and I just can't. I think
pull them out, but
I think they're kind of like, we've talked about this. I think they're kind of capped. Like I think they get to a certain point, and that's as far as they go. I feel like it's the vanilla. Like I like Pete Carroll, but it's like the vanilla schemes. Like I feel like they never really have that coaching advantage in the big game. I still think they need better defense up front to get the pass rush. Even the secondary is a little worrisome. And you always worry about Russell Wilson getting hit and sacked multiple times in a playoff game like we saw last year versus the Rams. So I could see it because they have an explosive element and a quarterback that you would not rule off. But I think there's teams that I like more. That's the best way I would put it. There is a team in the AFC that I do really want to mention here that I think actually is going to be really, really good this year.
I wonder if I know where you're going with this.
It's not my team. Okay. Even though I do think New England's going to be good, but it's not my team.
I'm going to write it down so that you don't think I'm just co-signing.
Okay. Let's see.
There's two teams I have in my mind that you could be.
All right.
Okay.
What is it? Okay, I'll say it. The Cleveland Browns.
I said Browns and Ravens.
Yeah, it's the Browns to me.
Yeah.
The Browns, they took this step last year to getting to the divisional round. A lot of people didn't think they'd even beat the Steelers. They did. Their offense, I mean, they've got arguably the best offensive line. They've got a great running game, 2 great backs. They've got tight ends. They've got hopefully Odell healthy and Jarvis Landry and Baker taking that next step, second year in Stefanski's offense when you look good in the first year. The defense is so much better now with all the additions to the secondary. You have Myles Garrett, who's a game changer. They seem like the team. If anyone is going to beat, I know we like the Bills, but if any team is going to beat the Chiefs, I think their combination of their ability to run the ball, control the clock, but also put up a lot of points. And then defensively with the players they now have to cover the Chiefs, and they obviously have a couple pass rushers, they can play defense. So I think the Browns, it might be their year, man. I really do. I think it could be.
Let's hope for that to happen, that Clowney's not clowning, right? Like, because
yeah. Clowney's a wild card. I mean, if they get really, I'm not even counting like Clowney being really good, like just average.
I'm not counting him, but if he can finally be the guy that everybody has wanted him to be, like I know me as a D-line person, I'm like, where is this guy? Like
he's had moments of it for sure.
He's flashed. That's all you can say though. But you put him with Miles. I mean, now you're cooking with fire. You are right. The Browns, to me, as much as I make fun of Baker Mayfield, just because it's fun, it's not malicious. Like, I do think he's phoning home with, maybe he can call in some favors from the aliens, but I do think he's, at home with E.T. pitching in the Reese's commercial. But, I am a fan of trench warfare. And when you look at not only their defensive line that we just talked about, when you look at their offensive line, like they're bullies. Like they're like, come on.
And you got a truck in Nick Chubb just running downhill.
I mean, how'd you get that last name? Come on. You were destined to run like that. Come on, Chubb. Come on, Chubb. I mean, he like Big Baby, right? Like, bah, bah, bah. Behind trench warfare, right? Like he would be good, but behind that line, like, dang, right? It's scary. And then, yes, you are explosive. You have great weapons that you can get the ball to. Thankfully, you learned that you didn't have to be, and I hate to say that for anybody's injury, but thankfully, the injury to OBJ made them have to use some of their other tools in the toolbox. Now, if you can get him back.
That's the thing to me, Jen. I think that is the ultimate wild card of maybe the entire AFC. If Baker and Odell can click, then we are very much in a discussion about the Browns being very, very good. And it doesn't have to be like, because of the way they play, it doesn't have to be like a volume thing. It's more of a explosive thing that we're looking for here.
Well, what we need, what they have the capacity to do is what San Francisco was doing to people for a while, right? Mm-hmm. Like with that, huge check and we're just big boying you and we're running the ball once we get ahead, right? If you can be multiple enough to get points on the board and get a lead, then people have very little chance to take it away from you because of how dominant you can be on the run. And that run game, I mean, it's making you have to honor it. It's making you dedicate guys to the box to shut down the line, to take on that two-headed monster, right? You have to honor that. And then you're also going to get mismatches, in the passing game. But once you're ahead, the Browns are keeping it. Like you're done. And that at that time, they become scary good. It's like what San Francisco did to the Packers, right? Like Packers, there was no way. Yeah, you have Aaron Rodgers, and yes, he can put on points, but he can't do it without the freaking football. Sorry, you just can't. No matter how good at a comeback guy you are, like if you don't have the ball, you can only do so much. And San Francisco did it really well, and that's obviously what Cleveland's building. I like them. I also do like the Ravens, as I brought up. I think finally, he can throw to somebody. Right? Finally.
Good for Lamar. Congratulations, Lamar. You got somebody to throw
And
to.
it's like, you got friends. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers is like, why does he get friends and I don't get friends? I want friends.
Okay, Jen, so let's finish it off with a prediction here. A very early prediction. So my very early prediction, I'm actually going to say the Browns make it. And I'm going to say they face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Browns?
That's my early prediction. What do you got?
I do like that. I think it is entirely possible. I don't know if, I'd love to.
You don't know if Tom's going to make it.
Right. I don't know if he's going to be healthy. That's my big wild card, but
it's hard to repeat. I get it.
It is. But then what are you looking at, right? Like, do you think the Rams could make it?
Maybe. I mean, who else would there really be? I mean, you said the Cardinals, obviously the Packers, you want to throw in maybe like if the Cowboys can get their defense together. I don't know. You could throw in the Niners, maybe.
No, here's the hot take. Niners get Jimmy G.
Jimmy G just goes off?
Or no, sorry. They get Aaron Rodgers.
Trey Lance?
They steal him
okay. Well, yeah, that's something totally that throws a wrench into everything because I think
because if they get Aaron Rodgers and plug him into that, they could be a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
And that would be a really interesting Super Bowl. Think about what we just talked about with the run pass. It really would almost be a race to get the lead. Because whoever got the lead could keep
Browns Niners.
Yeah, Browns Niners would be like.
That'd be a little old school football.
It would be a really old school football game. I think it would be good though.
Yeah. Do you have an official prediction, or are you just going to check it out?
You know what?
Obviously, we can change. We still have the whole offseason.
Well, I just want to know what the quarterback situation is going to be. San Francisco, make it easier. But
let's say it's Trey Lance by the end of the year.
No, I don't think a rookie's going to take it. Not over these teams.
I kind of. That's why I can't really say they are going to make it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
NFC's tough. Outside of Tampa, it's like, okay, are you going to go all in on the Rams, or like Seahawks are going to finally push through, or like Cardinals? You're going to go Cardinals?
Seahawks, I can cross right off the list.
Okay, cross them right off.
Not next crossed off the list. They could be. They might be the worst.
Vikings, maybe. I don't know.
No, the Vikings aren't going to do it.
Okay.
It's going to either be, if you can put Aaron Rodgers in San Francisco, that's definitely a possibility. But outside of that, it could be the Cardinals. But I don't think
the Cardinals. I like it. Hot takes.
Yeah, I don't know if they have enough to beat the Bucks though. But they're my second pick. So I'm going to go. Why not? I'm going to go Cardinals.
Cardinals Browns or Cardinals Chiefs?
I'm going to go Cardinals Browns.
Oh, okay.
That's
a hot take bowl.
It is a hot take, but that's Bruce Arians' old team. So old rivalry, die hard. Or we even forgot about New Orleans.
Jameis time.
Jameis would be the ultimate revenge. Go back into his old house and knock him out the Super Bowl. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's
crazy. That defense is pretty fierce too. I saw, unfortunately, the last time I saw Jameis play against the Saints when I was there, I saw him get sacked like 5 times.
Yeah.
By that defense. Now that would be a freaking we'd have a documentary.
A whole documentary, Jameis's Revenge. All right. Well, let us know in the comment section what your early Super Bowl prediction is.